Rural Arizonans are being ignored as the EPA proposes a carbon rule that will close every coal power plant in Arizona in 6 years. The Apache Generating Station, one of the most reliable and emissions-compliant plants in the country, is in the crosshairs. The impact on rural communities served by the co-ops will be devastating as energy costs skyrocket, jobs are lost, and businesses and families go bankrupt.
Out here it can be very tough at times.
Dr. Troy Gary's rural dental practice in Pierce Sunsite sits in the shadow of the Apache Generating Station, and patients come from more than 40 miles around. Many of them struggle just to pay for gas to get there.
It's going to affect myself, all my staff. It's going to affect the business here. It will affect the rest of the community and the businesses, because there's a limited income as there is right now in the area. And like I said, you got to pay electric.
A few miles away, one of his patients examines the corn crop and says it's almost like the government wants rural Americans to disappear.
A bunch of us will be out of business. So obviously I'm going to lose my livelihood as well as, a couple hundred families throughout the valley.
Other states with more than 3 times the CO2 emissions as Arizona do little or nothing under the new rule. Has Arizona been singled out? No other state is hit harder.
Make it fair. If Arizona's going to be put under the gun, then everyone should be put under the gun, or no one at all.
Holly and Edward Scott, owners of a small rural cafe, rely on the power from Apache for their home and business, and rates are stable and predictable. If energy costs skyrocket, President Obama's words, they point out, they'll have to close. And to add insult to injury, they realize that as member owners of their cooperative, they'll still be paying the debt on a plant they can't even use.
It wouldn't be fair to meet compliant, be forced to buy a car that meets standards or compliance, and then halfway through the payoff process, they tell you, well, wait a minute, that can't go. You can't even drive it anymore because its emissions are wrong. But you still have to pay for it. But yeah, we want you to buy a new car.
Arizona's economy is only now coming out of the recession and business is looking up, in part because energy costs are stable and lower than in many parts of the country.
It's a favorable business climate, and that's because, the costs are low, and I think that, energy costs are low, so that helps us a whole lot.
If the EPA has its way, say goodbye to the recovery, Diaz says.
If the energy costs go up, then what's going to happen is a lot of the folks are going to be going over Arizona and going into Texas. They're going to go into some of the other states.
Everyone will suffer. Philip Ray volunteers with Alzheimer's patients and other at-risk rural people who live on a few $100s a month. There are thousands of them already barely getting by.
Most of them can't hardly even afford to buy food and pay their utilities now, let alone if they jack the price up. It doesn't seem fair at all.
It's not hype, it's not an overreaction, it's going to happen. If the carbon rules for existing generation aren't changed to allow more time and flexibility to move to natural gas and other forms of energy, rural Arizona's economy will be devastated. That's fact. Tell the EPA enough is enough. Listen to the people served by Arizona's rural electric co-ops. Go to tellepa.com and send a message. Do it now.